So Ragib al-Asfahani emphasizes living up to your potential early on in the book, and he says it's a really, really essential thing to realize. And he quotes a line of poetry that escapes me right now, but it's basically to the effect that there's nothing worse or more disappointing than something that doesn't live up to its potential. And he gives a ton of examples that might seem comical. He says, like, let's take a sword, right? If you have a sword, what is it for? It's for the battlefield, right? It's for combat. It's for these sorts of things. Like, so what if you have a sword and you're using it to just, cut up your cheese or your bread at home in the kitchen? It would be kind of silly. It would be kind of a shame, this sort of thing that was created for this purpose, and sort of a glorious purpose, a very important purpose, and it's being used for something that's way below what it can do, right? Or like I used to give this example to other people. What if somebody gave you a Rolex? So thank you so much, that's so kind of you, and then you use it as like a doorstop, or use it as a paperweight, right? You just said, like, that'll look great next to my other paperweights. Like, I'll put it here on my desk. You're using something that has, it's been made, it's valuable, it has this potential, and you're using it for something that's way below what it can be. And the author, Ragib al-Asfahani, brings that back to us as human beings, because we have these three levels of purpose. And our highest level of purpose is khilafatullah, is to be the steward of the whole creation. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that a person who knows the religion, al-alim, everything in the creation asks Allah to forgive him or her. Even the fish in the sea. Even the fish will be asking Allah to forgive you if you know your religion. Why? Because a person who knows their religion, they're going to take care of everything in Allah's creation. They're not going to make decisions just based off of their own narrow interest. They're not going to go just plow down the woods and say, well, I want to make it a driveway, or I want to make it this. They're going to think, there's birds that live here. There's creatures that depend on this for their sustenance. There's all these other, the environment, all these sorts of different things. A person who understands their religion and fears Allah will look at things holistically like that. How does this affect everything? How does this affect 3 generations from now? This decision that we're about to make now. Right? Whereas a lot of people, they're not that deep. They're not thinking about things along those lines. And this is a waste, because as human beings, we're created with this capacity to be operating at that level. Right? The other creatures that we see, the beaver, the squirrel, or whatever, are they making decisions for all the creatures? Everything that they do, where a squirrel takes a nut and stashes a nut, hides it away for winter in a tree. Is it doing that? Thinking about the birds, thinking about the people, thinking about the soil, no. Animals don't have this capacity. This is a special human capacity. We have the ability to manage. We have the ability to take care and steward for everything. And so if we're not doing that, who's going to do it? Nobody. Even worse, we have an asymmetrical power. We have more power than certain other creatures. And if we start making decisions just based of our own narrow self-interest, either as a species, like with the environment, nuclear power, toxic sludge, dumping it into the rivers and streams, pharmaceuticals down the drain, all this crazy stuff we see these days, we're going to have a disproportionate effect on everything. Compared to the squirrel, how much damage can a squirrel do? He can maybe, kill one of your trees. He can maybe clog up your gutter or something like that. But he can't wipe out species. He can't, pollute entire rivers and watersheds and ecosystems. That's only people can do that, right? So we have a higher calling. We have this potential, an enormous potential. And if you don't reach that potential, it's just like that Rolex. Just using it as a paperweight. What a waste.